నిన్న మొదటి భాగంలో మనం డెఫినెట్ ఇంటిగ్రేషన్స్లో 8 బెస్ట్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ మనం డీల్ చేసాం. ఆ 8 బెస్ట్ ప్రాపర్టీస్ అనేటువంటివి ఏంటేంటి ఒకసారి నేను మీకు రీకలెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను. అవి నెంబర్ 1 ఫస్ట్ ప్రాపర్టీ వచ్చేటప్పటికి న్యూటన్స్ లీబ్నైజ్ ఫార్ములా. ఈ న్యూటన్స్ లీబ్నైజ్ ఫార్ములాలో capital F and small f are two functions defined in closed interval AB such that capital F dash of x is equal to small f of x for every x belongs to closed interval AB. Then integration a to b small f of x dx is nothing but capital F of x plus c under limits a to b, and this can be simplified and we can get answer as f of b minus f of a. This is called Newton's Leibniz formula and analytical definition of the definite integration. And of course here I clearly mentioned what are a and b. A and b are limits of the integration and limits of the variable x in the integration. There a is lower limit and b is upper limit. So as long as the variable and limits of the variable is unaltered, then the value of the definite integration doesn't affect. That in the formula as a properties we have learned several things in a last class. Of that, number 1, integration a to b f of x dx, which is same as integration a to b f of t dt, and it is nothing but integration a to b f of theta d theta, etc., etc. Here I clearly mentioned what I mentioned and what I told to you. There in the formula, here a and b are limits of x, here a and b are limits of t, here a and b are limits of theta. This is very, very important point. Second property, integration a to b f of x dx is equal to minus integration b to a f of x dx. So if I have changed the limits, sign will change. Third one is, we can write definite integration as a sum of two or more than two definite integrals also, provided that the partition point either lie in the interval or outside the interval. That in simply integration a to b f of x dx, which can be written as integration a to c f of x dx plus integration c to b f of x dx, where c is either an inside point of open interval ab or an outer side of open interval AB. This I mentioned it. Not only that, suppose this also I can write it as a to c1 f of x dx plus integration c1 to c2 f of x dx plus integration c2 to c3 f of x dx and so on, plus integration cn to b f of x dx. This also we can write. But here the points c1, c2, c3 and so on, cn are the points, either some of them are lie inside the interval AB or some of them are lie outside the interval AB. But anyhow, the definite integration can be written as sum of two or more than two definite integrations also. After that, we have derived very good properties very good important properties and useful properties. Of that, the first fundamental property is integration 0 to a f of x dx, integration 0 to a f of x dx equal to integration 0 to a f of a minus x dx. This I clearly mentioned. And several other derivatives and formulas can be derived only with the help of this one. So, this is my favorite formula, integration 0 to a property f of x dx equal to integration 0 to a f of a minus x dx. With the help of this only, we derived two beautiful theorems, two beautiful properties. That one is integration 0 to minus a to a f of x dx is equal to 0 if f is odd function, equal to 2 integration 0 to a f of x dx if f is even function. This also I mentioned. And another important formula 0 to 2a f of x dx equal to 0 if f of 2a minus x is equal to f of x and is equal to 2 into integration 0 to a f of x dx if f of 2a minus x is equal to, this is minus f of x and this is equal to f of x. But my friends, I clearly mentioned one important point, that is the geometrical interpretation of definite integration. What it tells integration a to b f of x dx, what it tells? It tells area bounded by the curve, area bounded by the curve y is equal to f of x, comma x axis, and between the lines x is equal to a and x is equal to b. This I clearly mentioned. So, these are the first 8 best properties that we practiced in the first part of the definite integration. Now, today we are going to take remaining best properties. Here now I am concentrating 3 more additional properties or 4 properties, of which first I am deriving one good and useful important derivation come formula, and you have to practice and by heart this formula, remember this result, because several applications are there in a definite integration with the help of these 3 or 4 standard results. Of that, what is one? 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. This I am going to calculate, or I am going to find what is the value of integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. With the help of this simple property, now we are deriving several more other properties. They are interlinked one to each other. See, my dear friends, first let it be I say, and moreover, according to my best property, I can write this as I am using above previous 8 properties, one of the previous 8 properties, that is 0 to pi by 2 log sin x. I can write it as log sin of pi by 2 minus x dx, because this we know integration 0 to a f of x dx is equal to integration 0 to a f of a minus x dx. I just applied this formula. So, you have to understand how we are applying the basic properties whenever a problem comes to you, and which property is best to resolve that. This with practice only you can get it. Here we are getting all the result in a sequential manner, so it is very easy to understand. Later with the practice only we can utilize the uses and the beauty of or applications of the properties that we are deriving are going to derive. So my friends, here I applied the same property. So this is nothing but 0 to pi by 2 log of sin pi by 2 minus x is cos x, log cos x dx. So here what I am going to say, integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx is nothing but integration 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx. Both are same. So these two are same. But what is it? How to get it? Clear? Now for this what I am doing is, now I am applying integration by parts of formula here. So integration 0 to pi by 2, that I can write it as 1 into log sin x dx. Clear? Or I can do one thing. So I got this is initially I consider this as my I, and again I proved that my I is this one. So let it be equation number 1, and now consider this as equation number 2. Now add 1 and 2. You just see the important result and how they are going to turn. I plus I becomes 2I. Now this is nothing but integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx plus integration 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx. Similarly, with help of the properties, I can write it as log a plus log b is equal to log ab. So this is nothing but log sin x into cos x dx. And by multiplying 2 inside the bracket of sin x and cos x, both numerator and denominator, so this can be turned into log of sin 2x by 2 dx. And again it is in the form of log a by b. So properties of logarithm, this can be written as integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx minus integration 0 to pi by 2 log 2 dx. So my friends, this can be written as integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx, and that can be written as, since log 2 is constant, 0 to pi by 2 dx, and integration of dx is x, and after substitution of upper and lower limit in x, this is log sin 2x dx minus this is log 2 x under limits 0 to pi by 2, and after simplification this we can write it as integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx minus pi by 2 log 2. You call this as equation number 3. See my friends, logs integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx that we are going to find. And if I applied the property 0 to a f of x dx is equal to 0 to a f of a minus x dx, then see the beauty in the transformation of log sin x. That is nothing but 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx. So here we understood that integration for 0 to pi by 2 log sin x and integration 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx both are same. But my question is how to find 0 to pi by 2 log sin x. If I got the value for 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx, automatically I can get the value for 0 to pi by 2 log cos x. For that what I did, just I have added these two. After that I launched this one. Now what I am doing is, I am in equation 3, let us consider that first part as I1. So here my I1 is, I am considering my I1 is 0 to pi by 2 log sin 2x dx. See, this I am considering here. There what I am doing is put 2x is equal to t. Now dx becomes dt by 2. And again my lower limit here I want to find. So if x is equal to 0, my lower limit t equal to 0. upper limit I want to know. If x is equal to pi by 2, then my t is equal to pi. So what could be my I1? I1 is equal to integration 0 to pi log sine, that 2x becomes sine t, and instead of dx I can write it as half dt. So what are here 0 and pi? They are limits for variable t. Of course, since they are limits for variable t, I can also write this as 0 to pi log x sin x dx also. There is no harm, because by previous properties, this can be written as half integration 0 to pi log sin x dx also. Again apply our beautiful property here. Therefore, it can be written as half, not this property, our previous property. This can be written as, this is log sin pi minus x is equal to log sin x. So this property looks like what? This is nothing but integration 0 to 2a f of x dx is equal to 2 into integration 0 to a f of x dx, provided f of 2a minus x is equal to f of x. So this can be written as half into 2 into 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. Which property here I applied? Integration 0 to 2a f of x dx is equal to 2 into integration 0 to a f of x dx, provided f of 2a minus x is equal to f of x. So what happened here? This I1 is nothing but what? 0 to pi by 2 log sin x. See, several things here we have identified. What are those things? Important points are what? Here important observations are, this is one result, and this is another result, and this is another result. Almost all are similar, same. But here we applied this beautiful property, and again one of our beautiful property. So what happened? If I substitute this in my 2i, therefore 2i equal to, I am substituting here. So this 2i equal to, in this place I can write that as what? My that is I minus pi by 2 log 2. So you bring this I here. So 2i minus I becomes I. So I equal to what? Minus pi by 2 log 2. So from this derivation, what we learned? That is integration 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx is equal to integration 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx, which is equal to minus pi by 2 log 2. Please by heart this result, and this is very, very useful and important result, and several applications are directly or indirectly involved with this result. So practice this as the standard result. Okay. And of course, again with the help of this one, we can find or we can derive the most useful results. They are nothing but what? Integration 0 to pi by 2 log tan x, and integration 0 to pi by 2 log cot x dx. Similarly, integration 0 to pi by 2 log cosecant x dx. Similarly, integration 0 to pi by 2 log secant x dx. Integration 0 to pi by 2 log tan x. How can I write? This can be written as 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx minus integration 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx. Of course, not necessary to tell what could be the answer is. And how come integration 0 to pi by 2 log cosecant x dx? This is also very simple for you. because cosecant x is nothing but 1 by sin x. So that becomes minus 0 to pi by 2 log sin x, and this is 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx. But what is 0 to pi by 2 log sin x? Which is minus pi by 2 log 2. Minus minus gets cancelled. So answer becomes pi by 2 log 2. So finally, you just practice these three results. So what are they? Number 1, 0 to pi by 2 log sin x dx is equal to 0 to pi by 2 log cos x dx is equal to minus pi by 2 log 2. Second one is 0 to pi by 2 log tan x dx is equal to 0 to pi by 2 log cot x dx is equal to 0. Third one is 0 to pi by 2 log secant x dx is equal to 0 to pi by 2 log cosecant x dx is equal to pi by 2 log 2. Try to understand the sign difference between these two. These are the standard result, and of course they are useful for even board examinations also. Okay. Now my friends, coming to next beautiful property, which is property number 9, nothing but shifting property. Of course, here I am giving these shifting properties and the beauty of these properties. Without help of these properties also, we can solve the problems. But these are all are what? There's sometimes they may useful for you for solving other problems in 2 or 3 steps. That is, practice makes man's perfect principle you apply. Then we, instead of putting something, put x is equal to something or y equal to something or dx and upper limit, lower limit changes, upper limit, etc., blah, blah, blah. You can directly, with help of these formulae, you can solve the problems very quickly. And later I will explain with the help of, with each and every property, which kind of problems that we can solve very easily in a systematic manner also. But one thing, here I am stressing more on what? More on geometrical interpretations. See here, my friends, here what happened? I am reducing, I am subtracting c from lower and upper limit. That means I am reducing a to a minus c and b to b minus c. With that effect, what happened? F of x becomes f of x plus c. So whenever I am subtracting some fixed constant in the lower and upper limit, we are adding the same constant in the variable. This you have to practice. And it is of course opposite one. Whenever I am adding something to lower and upper limit, the same constant we are subtracting from the variable of the function. Okay. This, of course, proof is also very simple. We can take this one, for example, I equal to, this is a minus c to b minus c f of x plus c dx. So with our previous information, put what? X plus c equal to t, therefore dx is equal to dt. What is my lower limit? Lower limit is, if x is equal to a minus c, what could be my t? T equal to a minus c plus c, that is nothing but a. Upper limit, if x is equal to b minus c, then my upper limit is of t becomes b minus c plus c equal to b. Therefore, what is my I? I is now nothing but a to b f of t dt, nothing but a to b f of x dx. Everybody tells this one. There is no beauty in this one. Of course, the similar way you can prove the next one also. But here I am giving the geometrical interpretation. See, if you know the graph of f of x, then what is the graph of f of x plus c and what is the graph of x minus c? And area bounded by the curve f of x under the limits a to b is equal to what area of f of x plus c under which limits? Similarly, what area of the function f of x minus c under which limits? This is important. For that, please try to understand this graph. So, geometrical interpretation is this one. See my friends, this is your function. This is your function f of x. If you know f of x, this is your f of x plus c and this is your f of x minus c. That means, if we are shifting the curve f of x plus c, c units right, this right, if we are shifting the function f of x, c units right, that becomes f of x. If whenever I am shifting c units right, this a minus c becomes a, this b minus c becomes b. But graph only has shifted. The shape and the item has only shifted. The original item here is nothing but here. That means what? The same area under this curve is nothing but the same area under this curve. That is the area bounded by the curve y equal to f of x plus c between a minus c to b minus c is nothing but area bounded by the curve y equal to f of x between a and b. The similar thing holds good for f of x minus c also. Clear? Here how to? Here what I am doing is, if this is the curve f of x minus c, how to convert f, if you know f of x, how to draw f of x minus c, how to imagine the curve f of x minus c. See, if I want to find f of x minus c, then what I am doing is, just you shift curve a to c units right, or you can say another word, the function if f of x minus c is shift c units left. You can say either a c units right. If you are saying c units right, then f of x becomes f of x minus c, or c units left, then f of x minus c becomes f of x. This is the only difference, but the area bounded by the curves are same. This is another important property. Already I have given the analytical proof also. This is geometrical proof. Here than the proof, please practice the graphs of a function f of x and f of x plus c and f of x minus c. That means, if you know sin x, how to draw sin x minus 1, how to draw sin x minus 2. You know the graph of log x, how to draw log x minus 1, how to draw log x plus 1, something like that. You imagine. If you know tan inverse x, how to draw tan inverse of x minus 1, how to draw tan inverse of x plus 1. But the shape of the curve and everything is fixed and everything is same, only in between that particular values of a and b. Accordingly, the corresponding values will change, but area won't change. That we have to understand with help of these geometrical interpretations. Now coming to another beautiful property, that is called contraction property. Here in the contraction property, my friends, see, integration a to b f of x dx is equal to k into integration a by h to b, a by k, sorry, here it is a by k to b by k f of kx dx, and here integration a to b f of x dx is equal to 1 by k into integration ak to bk f of x minus k. What's that? What is f of x and f of kx? If you know sin x, and what is sin 2x? If you know sin x, what is sin x by 2? That's the difference. So, under some limits, the area bounded by the curve sin x is same as k times the area bounded by the curve sin 2x also. But what are those limits is important here. They are nothing but a by 2 to b by 2. That's the point. Then, but here the major important point is why they are called contraction. Why they are they called contraction? That I will explain in geometrical interpretation. Of course, here an analytical proof is very simple, because my here analytical proof is what? Just like that, take I equal to integration a by k to b by k f of kx dx. You put kx is equal to t. Proofs are very simple. K dx is equal to dt. Therefore, dx is equal to dt by k. So, what is my lower limit? Lower limit, if x is equal to a by k, then my t becomes a. Upper limit, if x is equal to b by k, then my t becomes b. So, my I is nothing but integration a to b f of t. Instead of dt, I can write dt by k, that is 1 by k into this one. Already k into integration a by k to b by k, that kk gets cancelled. So, automatically you will get my answer as this one. Similarly, we can prove the second property. So, analytical proofs are very easy, but I am not interested in analytical proofs. Of course, without help of these properties also we can solve the problem just by taking this kind of business. Without help of this business, if you understand the nature of the function, what we are going to do, and what is the relation between these two functions and link between these two functions, then immediately without by transformations we can apply the strategies, and we can write the limits accordingly, and we will find the area bounded by the curves very easily and simply. Clear? Now coming to the geometrical interpretation. The geometrical interpretation is like this. See, my friend, this is your f of x. This is your f of x. Here, my function f of x, this is f of kx, and this is f of x by k. See the relation between f of x and f of kx. Contraction. Why they are called contraction? Contraction here in the sense, sometimes it may shrink and sometimes it may expand. If the area bounded by the curve is a, then the area bounded by the f of kx is 1 by k times of its area. 1 by k times of its area. Under what limits? A by k to b by k. And if area bounded by the curve is a, then area bounded by the curve f of x by k is k times the original area. Under what? Under limits ak to bk. This is another important geometrical interpretation. So, with this, my suggestion is, please concentrate on how to draw, if you know log x, how to draw log x by 10. If you know log x, how to draw log 100x. If you know tan x, how to draw tan 5x. If you know tan x, how to draw tan x by 3. So, at least you imagine why it is called contraction and what is the relation between their areas. So, it becomes very simple. So, if original area is A, then the shrinked or contrasted or the expanded area of the next f of x by k curve and f of kx curves are, we can imagine or we can write like this. So, this is another important property. Now, coming to in this session, the last one, which is not, this one last but one, that is reflection property. Why it is called reflection? Because here the property itself having functions f of x and f of minus x, and you know very well f of x and f of minus x, y is equal to f of x and y equal to f of minus x. What are they? These two are reflections one another with respect to y axis. See, if this is my f of x and this is my f of minus x. So, area bounded by the curve y equal to f of x is nothing but what? Area bounded by the curve y equal to f of minus x between minus b to minus a. Analytical proof is very simple. Actually, here you what to do? You put minus x is equal to t, then automatically you will get the I area, or you can get the direct conversion a to b of x dx very easily. If minus x is equal to t, then what is that? Dx is equal to minus dt. Again, my lower limit is equal to, if x is equal to minus b, then t equal to b. My upper limit is, if x is equal to minus a, then t equal to a. So my function becomes integration b to a f of t, of course minus dt, and according to our previous properties, if I have changed the sign, automatically limits will change. So integration a to b f of t dt, nothing but integration a to b f of x dx. Very easy. Now the last property in this second part I am going to derive, which is nothing but, if f is a discontinuous function at x is equal to a, then integration 0 to 2a f of x dx is equal to integration 0 to a f of a minus x plus f of a plus x. My friends, here proof is also very simple, but the important point here is, the most important point here is, based on this property in IIT exam, they asked one beautiful question, and if you know that property only, this property only, you can solve that question very easily. What is that question and how to solve that one, that I will explain it in the next session. That is that problem here I am giving, integration 0 to pi x sine 2x sine of pi by 2 cos x by 2x minus pi dx. This was the problem asked in advanced examination once upon a time, and this problem we can derive or we can solve very easily if you know this property. Without this property also we can solve, but very easily you can solve it. The main important point in this problem is f is a discontinuous function at x is equal to a. That is why this beauty of this property comes. So far we have not stressed anything more on discontinuity, but here I am particularly concentrating on what? Discontinuity of the function at x is equal to a. But how to prove this? This I can give the proof like this, integration 0 to a f of a minus x plus integration 0 to a, I have taken RHS here, I am taking 0 to a, I separated the integrations, f of a plus x. Please try to understand the technique. This technique is also sometimes useful for solving several questions. Here I am applying my standard beautiful formula, 0 to a f of x dx is equal to 0 to f of a minus x. So f of, what I am doing is a minus of a minus x, because I have applied that property, one of our previous property. But here what I am doing is, here I am simply I just I am applying my contraction, that shifting property. Just now we have derived in, I think in property number 9 or 10, something like that. According to the shifting property, if I add a to both upper and lower limits, if I add a both for upper and lower limits, then what can I do? I can subtract a from the variable of the function. See, here I applied two beautiful properties, What are those properties? Integration 0 to a f of x dx is equal to integration 0 to a f of a minus x dx. This is a beautiful property I applied. My friends, in IIT examination, if you have observed several previous years papers, several questions were depend only on this property. Already I told. So far we have derived, of course, this is property number 12 that we are deriving. But majority of the properties are extracted one by one, and they are the extensions of this particular property only. Now, and another property is integration a to b f of x dx. This can be written as integration a plus c to b plus c f of x minus c dx. I applied these two properties here. Now, automatically it becomes 0 to a f of x dx, and it becomes what? A to 2a f of x dx. Again, I am using my another property. So, this is integration 0 to 2a f of x dx. So, my friends, so these are the first beautiful 12 properties of definite integrations. They are very useful for you for solving several problems. And in the next session, I am concentrating only on problems depends upon these 12 properties and which kind of questions they asked in mains and advanced examinations especially. Then how to apply these formulas for solving those problems also. Okay. So, my friends, you please practice all these properties and postulates once again very thoroughly. Then you will confidently get a very good knowledge in a definite integrations. Okay. Thank you. Thank you to all.